Minister Uriah Baraka on this beautiful Sabbath day, coming to you to share with you just another word from Yahuwah, which He has given us to His prophets. I'd like to share with you a subject dealing with the preparation for Exodus, how the Word teaches us an order and a pattern of behavior, situations and circumstances that He allows and ordained in order to bring His people to a place of preparation to exodus the darkness of this world. We must take into consideration that much of what we have believed has been given to us by the oppressor, those who are Rashim, who practice murder, who practice the abuse and the exploitation of man. We have accepted these doctrines and they have become a norm to us. My intention is to introduce to you a more revolutionary ideal of the word, not to force you to believe as I believe, but for you to evaluate and to pray on so that the Spirit will lead you whether the things that are being said are of truth or of falsehood. I believe that they are of truth, so I continue to teach them, though there are not many who listen. We're too concerned with race, creed, colors, and the things that are related to the flesh instead of our spiritual aggrandizement. But I'd like for you to turn to Shemot, chapter 1, where it speaks of the children of Israel having gone to Mizraim, where they received Joseph once again after rejecting him. It says that after a period of time, Joseph, who was at peace with one era of the Egyptians, that a new king rose. King, obviously, that was opposed to Joseph and what Joseph represented. Therefore, they sought to afflict, to minimize, and to negate the children of Israel for a purpose that was suitable to their needs and desires. It says in chapter 1, verse 12, the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. This is very important because most cases we look upon afflictions as something negative, when in many cases afflictions is something that Yahweh allows for our growth and development. Joseph, in this particular case, represents a doctrine of enlightenment that was given to the children of Israel, a doctrine of enlightenment that was rejected. Joseph was cast into a hole. He was sold to the Ishmaelites. He was taken to Mizraim. He was made a slave. He was in prison. But because of the phenomenal enlightenment that Yahweh has given him, and through that enlightenment, he was freed and raised up to a prominent position in Mizraim. And through this gift, he saved many from starvation and death by the wisdom, knowledge, and vision that Yahweh had given him. It is by these gifts that we are able to aggrandize ourselves to any level of success, and not through the talents or characteristics of the flesh, but the gifts that is given to us by the Spirit of Yahweh. Joseph here signifies a doctrine of truth that is from a measure of and quality of good. That is from Yahuwah. That when appropriated is the causality of spiritual proliferation or growth and development on a continuum basis. That is, as I said, spiritual growth in the divine character. This character, deriving from the divine nature, affects in the Rashim grief. You must understand this, that as you grow in righteousness, as you grow in the good works of Yahuwah, these good works and this righteousness afflicts the Rashim, the wicked ones. It caused them to go into a conviction of their own sin, a conviction of their own quality as being not the standard in which the Creator had intended them to be. This must be perfectly understood, that this deep conviction represented a conviction concerning their state of wickedness, which they did not want to see, as most people don't. They want to see themselves as good, as right. They want to justify themselves based upon their perception of righteousness according to the carnal mind. Therefore, when light comes, they reject it. They reject the light for darkness. That is, the light of darkness that Yeshua spoke of in Matthew. If the light be in you as darkness, then how great is that darkness? It is a darkness that will lead you to captivity and death. This the Mishraimites did not want to see. They were grieved by it. They were convicted by it. This is how the world is convicted, that as we grow in righteousness, even though the world place upon us afflictions, as we continue in a perpetuality of obedience to the truth, of prayer, of the doing of good works unto the world, redeeming the world, causing repentance in the world. It turns man away from the system of the Rashim to the order in which Elohim intended man to live. This disempowers the system. So they were grieved, and they understood that they have to destroy this doctrine, this enlightenment that was in the Israelites. It must be destroyed. This is because when the light is effected within us, it is not our light. It is a light that is greater, far superior to the light of the darkened mind of the carnal man. It places the carnal man in an inferior position, and if you understand the carnal man, he is in the love of self. So he wants to aggrandize himself above the things that are even innately characteristic of the divine, which is far superior to him. Thus he rebels. He seeks to destroy it. He seeks to twist the doctrines of the word. It doesn't matter what color you are. A Rashim is a Rashim. And anyone who has confirmed himself in the light of darkness of his own carnal thinking is a Rashim. He will take the word and twist it to his will. He will take the word and twist it to the degree that it aggrandizes him and not Yahweh or the name of Yahweh. Pretty sounding words, but we must leave behind these sterile litanies and nauseating mimicry of the world and come into a greater light of understanding so that we can prepare ourselves for the true exodus from Babylon into the kingdom of Elohim. The sons were cast into the sea. This is what the order of the king was, that you would cast the male child into the sea, into the river rather. Why? Lema. It is because sons signify divine cognitives of truth born in man through appropriation of that truth, appropriation unto the purification of the soul. And in this truth, there is the quality of good that is manifested through truth. Truth is the vessel of good. Without truth, there is no communication of good unto man, the quality of good that is from the divine. That is truth, or the fruits of the Spirit. This is what is spoken of in the Basar of Yeshua. If the fruits be good, then the tree is good. If the fruits be evil, then the tree is evil. Every tree produces fruit according to the quality of its nature. He's not talking about the trees out there in the park. He's talking about you and me. We are the trees in the garden that produces either the fruits of good or the fruits of the knowledge of good and evil. Understand that. But this is not that mythological theology where you got two people naked in a park and Elohim curses them because they ate an apple after speaking to a little snake. This is deep metaphor that the spiritual minded can perceive, but the carnal minded continue to turn into a mythos of thought. Little baby stories that we have been given while in our enslavement. Now it's time to be free, to open up our mind to higher thinking. So it is the quality of good that is manifested through truth and communicated to us through truth. These truths is represented as sons, derivatives of divine good. These are the sons. And so Pharaoh said, Kill the sons, that is, kill all cognitive thought in the mind. Redirect them into a thought pattern as they have done in Christianity. Think not on the things of the earth, but the things above, where Yeshua is seated at the right hand of Elohim. Now all they're thinking about is how to be blessed with a Cadillac, how to be blessed with a new home, how to aggrandize themselves in this capitalistic system of supremacy and to attain its glory. Redirected by false prophets, by men who teach according to the lust of their flesh and not according to the love of the Spirit. Pharaoh, the ruling principle of the carnal mind, understood that in order to survive, all truths from the divine must be exterminated in order to destroy the growth and development of the children of Israel in the quality of divine good. It must be destroyed. Once cognitive truth is destroyed, then good from the divine is profane. That is, truth is the means or the vessel that directs good to achieve the purpose of the will of truth. Once the male cognitives are destroyed, those cognitives of truth, then the emotions is redirected. The affections of divine good is redirected towards the things of the earth. They're redirected towards inferiority. They're redirected towards profane behavior. They're redirected towards the desires of the flesh. This is why it says, be obedient unto the truth, unto the purification of the soul. This is why it says that Yeshua was obedient unto death. We have to maintain an understanding of truth and an obedience to that truth in order for us to be engrafted within the quality of divine good, within the quality that belongs exclusively and innately to Yahuwah. This must be understood correctly, that all good is from the divine. And when the good is profane, the moral of the people is destroyed, and resistance to enslavement is made null and void. There is no resistance now, as there is no resistance today in Babylon. And the people descend into a state of spiritual blindness. This is shown fully when Moshe, who rose up to deliver his people, was rejected by his people. This spiritual blindness is shown in the Hebrews' reaction to Moshe, the Hebrew slaves. When Moses had killed the Misraimite, signifying a false principle of the carnal mind in Shemot 2:14. What was their reaction? When he came to them and said, brothers, let's not fight among one another. Their reaction was antagonistic. Their reaction was negative. Their reaction was minimizing. Their reaction was traitorous. And they said to Moses, who made you a prince and a judge over us? This shows clearly an inferiority complex of the mind's perception that manifested in the attitude a negation and minimization of those who the system has stigmatized as inferior, or who have brought your cognitive level down only to perceive those things inferior as being something innately akin to you. When something rises up against that, you think it's trying to kill you. You think it's trying to redirect you somewhere else. It's trying to lead you out of slavery. But in common words, what they said to Moses, we say today. You know what I mean. When a brother brings you some light, some truth, some good, some charity, what do you say? You're a nigger like us. You can't tell me nothing. Who do you think you are? What are you trying to be? See, that's the same thing these Hebrews said to Moses. And Moses, understanding this traitorous, negative slave mentality, he said, I must flee, for they will make me known. That is, they will betray me into the hands of the enemy. You have to discern this slave mentality. Out of the mouth, the heart speaks. Here's a man who came to save, who killed someone that was abusing you, who killed someone and protected you, and then when he comes to counsel you, all you want to do is put him down, minimize and negate. This is according to the carnal mind. The carnal mind, the carnal mind. You must understand the language of the carnal mind. What did they say to Moses? Do you want to kill us too? That's an accusation right there. You got murder in your heart. You got hatred in your heart. You want to kill us too. Paranoia. This is that slave mentality. That slave mentality that we are engrossed in. That slave mentality that keeps us from ascending to a level where we can truly exit us from this supremacist darkness that we have been in. From this supremacist darkness that keeps us in hatred and profanity. From this supremacist darkness that keeps us into the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. And then we want to put a religion on top of it and say, we're sons of Elohim. They that walk in the spirit are sons of Elohim, not they that walk in the flesh and in the paranoia and in the schizophrenia and in the fearfulness and in the negations and minimizations of the mind that tends to destroy progress instead of promote it. I'll stop here. This is only part 1. Next, we'll do part 2 and deal with some more issues on how to identify this slave mentality, but more so, how to break it down, release ourselves from it, and then return to our Creator, Yahweh Elohim. Shalom Aleichem.